So hello everyone, this is Jason with Blue Heron, and this is Akemi, also with Blue Heron. We are here today to go over the Territory Partner Scorecard and to give an overview of the business as well as come up with some clear action items off of this and show you how we would review this with a Territory Partner and what action items we would take from it. So without further ado, we'll dive into it. First off, what I like to do is use this as an overarching look at the business. There's a lot of things that we can pull off of this first page, and we are going to dive into these numbers a lot deeper. Kemi's going to go through some of them as well. But let's start off by the things that I see at the top. Number one, it's the accounts visited. When I see this at the top of a report of the 41% of the accounts have been visited within the last 3 months, that is the number one action item that I can pull off of this report that will improve the overall business, improve all the other numbers that we're looking at, and that is actually getting out to those hospitals. Nothing replaces that action, and I feel like if we're going to change behavior in hospitals, the only way we're going to do it is to physically be there. So it will affect all the rest of them, and so this would be my number one action item off of this. When we look at the numbers down here in the key metric performance, we're looking at an overall year-over-year trend to see if we're growing the business or decline or flat. What we've done here is we've averaged the first 3 months here and then the last 3 months to come up with some whether it's an increase or a decrease. And we look at really three different metrics here that I like to look at is gross new pets, activated EDOs, and total active hospitals. And on this report, we're seeing that all three of those are in a state of decline. Gross new pets went from an average of 50 to 42. Activated EDOs went from an average of 42 to 34, and total active hospitals went from 72 to 68. So Kemi, when you look at this, where would you go next to focus in on some action items to address those three metrics that we're looking at and to come up with some ways to improve those?
Yeah, so there's a couple different things that I would look at in terms of identifying opportunities here with the way that hospitals are issuing exam day offers and whether or not they are. So if you could jump over to the TP TrueX report, we can dig into that a little bit more. Okay, so the first thing that I like to look at here for gross new enrollments, so any hospital in column AG where we're seeing a blank is going to be an inactive hospital. And so these are hospitals that aren't having any kind of pet enrollment. So these are ones that I would strategize with the account manager in terms of just making sure that the hospitals understand, how to use our software, how to issue exam day offers, and really talking to them about the importance of insurance. There might be a lot of training opportunities here as well, in the case of staff not knowing how to issue exam day offers or how to utilize the software or how to have those conversations with clients. So a lot of coaching opportunities with these hospitals that are showing as inactive. The next thing that I like to look at is the EDO activations over time. So this is a way that we can look at increasing our same source sales. So I like to look at the last 3 months for total issued, and then this allows us to see changes over time and identify hospitals that should be a top priority for a visit and for coaching. So as I'm looking at this report, there's a few different ones that jump out to me. So practice number 3, we can see that they have had a downward trend for issued exam day offers. So 14 in January, 5 in February to 6 in March. This would be a top priority hospital for me to get a visit to because I would want to understand what's going on at this hospital. Are they having issues with staffing where they're understaffed and so it's been a challenge to issue exam day offers Do they have new staff on board that just don't understand how to issue exam day offers and haven't been trained yet? Or, what's going on there? So that would be a top priority visit for me. And you can see similar trends with a lot of these hospitals where we've had a decrease over time and a lot of opportunity in same store sales. And then, Jason, as we identify these opportunities within the hospitals and we're getting exam day offers issued and activated, do you want to talk a little bit more about how we can impact conversion rates?
Yeah, so I'm going to go back to the scorecard here and point out, this is something I didn't point out at the beginning, but the EDO conversion rate here at 28% is not where it needs to be, and as you can see, is declining over the last few months. And when we look at that, there's a direct correlation between messaging in the hospital and how they're driving those EDOs and the conversion rate. As you know, we're looking for a 30% conversion rate for a rolling 12 months, and on this particular scorecard, this market is at 28%, so not quite where it needs to be. The first place I would go is again back to the TrueX report and look at where those EDOs are coming from. Are they being driven to the web or the phone? And as you can see in this market, the majority of everything, the EDOs are going to the web. There are some hospitals that are actually getting them to go to the phone. And we know that our phone conversion is way higher than our web conversion. So the more we can message in the hospital to get those EDO conversion or those EDOs activated over the phone, more likely we're going to get them to convert to an actual policy. Another thing that I would do is I would look at this hospital number 8 to see what kind of messaging they have going on in their hospital and possibly replicating that in some of the other hospitals, because it looks as though they're pretty well split between web and phone as far as driving them. And then hospital 11 might be another one to tap into, because 4 out of the 5 that they activated last quarter were on the phone. So that would address that metric as well.
Great, Jason. I think it sounds like we have some really clear action items from this report card that this TPP could put in place to get movement in their market. Do you want to break down each of those steps for them?
Absolutely. So, and then one more thing that I did want to point out, and we've talked about the TrueX report, and you see that we have 56 TrueX hospitals in this market. There are 298 total hospitals. So we do know that there's opportunity for more TPP hospitals, and we really can't, unless we go into the combined clinic report, aren't going to be as targeted on what our strategy is if we don't have enough TPP hospitals to be targeted with, correct? Yeah. So that's where we always want to be looking at that number and making sure that down here we're showing an increase in that as well. So it's just a side note there as an action item to make sure that we're still going after TPP. So action items for this territory partner, the ones that I would encourage them to take action on immediately. Number one, get out and visit the hospitals, make a strategic plan to go to the hospitals, try to make appointments with decision makers or influencers in those hospitals so that you can change behavior in them. If we can get this number to 70, 80%, we will naturally see the rest of the numbers move in the right direction. Other action items, as Akimi talked about on the enrollment side, would be to identify those hospitals that are inactive and working with the account manager to figure out a way to get them to be active, to increase those gross new pets. And then also identify those hospitals that are issuing and getting activated EDOs. Again, working with your account manager, leveraging appointments with the practice managers, and adjusting your visit frequency for those hospitals that you see those opportunities in. And then finally, from a messaging standpoint, to ensure that we are talking about driving people to the phone as opposed to the web. We're going to get a much better conversion rate driving people to the phone than we will to web.
Sounds great.
All right. So that's pretty much it. I think everything I would look at on a scorecard to start off with. There are, of course, other metrics we could look at, but for this particular market, I think that's a good 4 action items that this territory partner can take away and start working on.